Hey guys, it's Celine, and it is Monday, the 9th of January, and I want to actually do a video that is a specific video about hair care as I look at it nowadays, okay? So this hair has not been washed since last Tuesday, and that is like 7 days ago. So today's Monday, right? So I'm going to be sharing a couple of my ideas and sort of grooming tips as is. I will probably, well, no, not probably, I will wash it this afternoon. However, the extent of how greasy this is now is also like 40% of that is actually hair oils and treatment things that have gone in. I'm sort of trying to figure out a new approach to live with my hair now than compared to what I always have done. So where I come from, basically not in the old days. In the old days when I was like 14 or so, we washed our hair once a week and we didn't care. I don't think I ever even had a hairbrush with me in school. So I don't know. I will have looked pretty terrible most of the time. Then there was a period where I was grooming a lot more, so washing very often, and especially as a sales representative at the time, it was, we were strongly advised to wash every 2 days at the very least. And I do get greasy hair. However, I'm kind of interested in this mechanism here, how my hair starts to behave if I do not wash it as often. And there are a couple of tips and tricks that I can actually do to make that livable for myself, to not turn into Severus Snape here, okay? Because that is not my intention. And I do not want to look ungroomed or unkept at all. So, especially since my cousin did my hair last time, gave me a haircut. She's a hairdresser, and I visited her place, and she cut my hair like more than a month ago by now, probably 5 weeks or so ago by now. It was in November, so late November, so maybe 6 weeks even. And so I'm trying to also sort of see what the shape that she gave my hair, does if I just let it grow from there. Whereas, okay, so there's a couple of notions, actually very simple, basic ideas that I've picked up mainly from watching hair care videos on YouTube, where it gives me kind of a new perspective. And my basic new perspective is this, that fundamentally the level of sort of greasiness on your scalp or in your hair follicles in here, naturally is geared towards longer hair. That's my most fundamental assumption in this whole adventure here. Okay, so that changes over time. I'm also in this whole hair growth thing here myself, because I have a lot more of the white hair these days, and I've said this a couple times already. My white hair is way thicker and way stronger than the other parts. This stuff, like 3 times as thick at least, and it is also drier. So I do not get greasy as quickly. So where if I would follow normal practice still, I could wash my hair or on the third or the fourth day and I would still be completely fine. But I do get a bit greasier towards the end, obviously. So instead of washing it as often as possible, where what happens is I get a lot more hair loss and a lot more hair breakage, okay, and also splitting ends and that kind of stuff, all sorts of damage to my hair. instead of going in that direction, I want to, or staying in that normal, you know, every day, everybody's kind of approach to hair care. Instead of that, I want to see what happens if I just brush it and comb it regularly and sort of leave the period between washes longer a bit, and then see what happens with that. Okay, that's what I've been doing. And the most crucial video that I watched, I can try to find it again, but it's not even that important. There's a gazillion hair care videos on there, you know, especially people with curly or frizzy hair. You know, but black people or people of black ancestry have a much more frizzy, they've got completely different hair type from mine. They also struggle with this hair breakage phenomenon if you wash it that often. Okay. And then of course there's this whole like endless industry in I don't know how many types and forms where you're advised to use conditioner to prevent or to counteract all the breakage and all the, you know, all this endless problem that it tends to become. Okay. So if I go back to my first idea here, my first basic assumption being that the hair oils that are naturally produced by this skull here are intended, the production levels of hair greasiness. Sorry if this freaks you out, then this is not the video for you, okay? That production level is intended for a particular length of hair, in my case, at my age also. This was probably also the case when I was 16 years old. If I had known then the things I know now, everything would have been probably very different. My brown, thinner hair, you know, I don't know if you can find any still, but in here there's still quite a bit of brown left. Okay. Would have benefited even more from the different approach. Not washing as often, and so using shampoos that are preferably as unaggressive as possible. So cleansing without degreasing you completely. That is a good idea. Small helpings of conditioner I'm not against at all, certainly. Also helpings of hair oil, if possible, depending on whichever type of brand you want to use. There's a gazillion brands of those as well. So, but the main things are, there's two main like approaches that I am using at the moment that are sort of bringing me to the state that things are in at right now. And one of them is fundamentally important. When I wash my hair afterwards, I do not brush it as long as it is wet. Okay, I will just have to stick a towel around it and go do other things. I will not blow dry it either, or it must be, if it's really wet outside and my hair will not dry for half a day or so because everything's just very humid in here. That tends to happen, you know, sometimes. Then I will blow dry with my little small blow dryer from a distance like this until it's like halfway dry, just like this, with just like warm air just going through there. No heat, because the heat on the wet hair is also a cause of breakage and loss of hair, okay? Loss of the volume. So I will not brush it. I will just do basic detangling like this. I will have used as little conditioner as possible, maybe a bit. Last time I did not even do any conditioner. I just forgot, which is like, what the hell happened there? I have no idea, okay? But I will sort of detangle slightly, just a tiny bit, stick a towel around it and just forget about it for a while. And then I've always had hair that sort of dries fairly quickly. So normally it's not an issue at all. It's just, it's winter time now, it's January. It's been raining all the time. So, you know, I have to just deal with the atmosphere as well. So the other element to my approach here is As my hair is then dry, okay, I can start to brush it and to sort of let it fall into the shape that it wants to be in at that particular time. It will be clean. I may use an infinitesimal amount of my own hair oil, which is basically olive with a couple of other things mixed in, to create a bit more of a, you know, malleable. It makes the hair happy. Hair oil makes the hair happy. So yeah, as does my own sebum, funnily enough. So the sort of later technical issue here, or technical approach that I'm using as I move forwards through time is, and this is also something I've discovered on the internet, on YouTube, is that you can use a really fine toothed comb instead of a brush, or an actual brush that has boar bristles, so like the dark brown, different tints of brown bristles, that type of really fine brush. And as your hair starts to get greasier through the days, if you just comb it, I'm just using a little plastic fine tooth comb, and that works just fine. It's really funny and kind of weird and interesting to me at the moment. If I comb it, you know, like that, for 5 minutes or so, the greasiness, the sebum moves from sitting on here and creating a Severus Snape effect down the line. So hence the idea that the level of greasiness produced in my skin here is intended for a longer hair. Okay? Are you still with me? So I've never I've never had a head of hair like this. It's so interesting to me. I don't know why it's this interesting. I know why it is this interesting, because I'm discovering other benefits as I go along. So that's why I sit here with a 7-day head like this without going to the first shampoo and then come out with my video, as I would always have done previously, you know, preferably, unless I was either very ill or very depressed or needed to talk to you guys immediately. In any other scenario than those, I would have first gone to the bath, done the hair, you know, and then come out to talk to you. Not now. This, because, okay, then going onward from my, say, 5 day sort of a frontier state of affairs that you have to pass over, that's when you get really noticeably greasy. And if you then comb it down, comb it out a lot more, so of course, obviously, you need the length in order to have any significant effect for the, you know, all the air oiliness to move down the hair. It turns out it almost completely disappears into the hair. So then I have 2 more approaches that I want to show you. At that point, there's the fine tooth comb, okay, doing that first. There's a sort of a hair follicle massaging that I do, which I won't do too much because then it will look a complete mess. What I do is I sort of go in, grab about this much of my hair or a bit more, and I twist it. I have picked this up a long time ago from an Indian hair massager that I saw on YouTube as well, who did it to somebody else, of course, so they did it symmetrically on both sides. Grab like a big lock of hair on either side, this very dark, very glossy Indian, like miles of hair, incredible the hair that those people have. And they would just pull that and twist that, and with a lot of hair oil in and so on. It was like the ultimate scalp massage. It was insane. So I tend to just sort of do my own simple version of that, and I will just twist this so that it isn't painful. Obviously, I'm not in this for torture. And then I will go in here and do the same. See what I'm doing there? I just twist this, and it creates a sense of aliveness in the scalp, which is kind of funny. Going in here like that. It even is kind of nice for headaches. Going in here like that. Bloop. Just for like 10 seconds or less. Going in the back like that. Pull it. Just twist it around. Hold for a tiny bit. And let go again. So that is just for comfort, really. It's kind of comforting to do, and it gives my hair a sense of aliveness and a sense of I'm actually taking care of it for a change. You know, like I can go under here and pull out. I don't pull out, obviously. I pull sideways, like, twisting like that. It's not uncomfortable at all. I can just do that. I believe what this does is it strengthens the hair attachment points. I have less hair loss. I've been doing this particular thing for, let me think, probably 3 weeks now or so. But I've started doing this just intuitively, but I had in the back of my mind the memory of the Indian video of the people doing this to somebody else, then just very efficiently and very quickly just grabbing the hair and twisting it around in all sorts of directions. Apparently, whereas normally, I don't know if you're a long-haired person, you will maybe have tried this occasionally. I used to back in the day, brush all my hair forward, like once a year or so, maybe, and then tie it into a top knot like that, with either with one of those grips or with elastic or whatever. It tended to always be a complete nightmare because that hurts. If you do not have, if your hair follicles get lazy or whatever it is, and if you just have it sitting out of its normal shape for a while, even if it's just for an hour or so, and then you take it down again, then it hurts every single. Well, that is completely gone by doing this twisting approach like this. And it doesn't matter in which direction I twist it, I can just go like this, and it doesn't matter if I grab everybody, it doesn't really matter. It just feels really nice to get at your scalp like this, but you obviously have to have some length in order to get this done. The other hair care, sort of hair treatment that I think I absolutely completely invented myself is my hair massage. So that's where I go, like, I just pull out like half of it to the front, and I just go like this with my two hands, two nicely warm hands, and I just go slowly like this, because that also moves the sebum down. This is gross. I agree with you, this is completely gross. You can even smell the hair oil, which is like all the programming in my brain goes like, I am not being a civilized, white, post-colonial, Eurocentric female if I do all these things, okay? So you can go in with the fingers like this to be close to the scalp even, and put the other hand on the outside. And if you just go like this, it'll move gently a lot of the ick down the hair to the outside. You know who loves this? These guys. They think they are in heaven. And I do not have to remind you of Samson and the haircut, in the story in the Bible, I think it is. Yes, I'm sure it is. Where they cut off his hair and all his physical prowess and power is gone. Samson, that guy. So that's the other part to this story here, is that I am coming to all sorts of ideological conclusions. So doing this also sort of spreads the whole thing around down the line, much more down here, if possible. Then you can do another combing session. It takes a bit of doing, and it takes some time and some attention, and you have to be willing to have, it's all in there. I have 2 products that I am using in terms of hair oil. One of them is my own, like I said, olive oil with neem and cedar oil basically in. Neem oil is solid at room temperature, so you have to heat it up, and then when it's liquid you stick it into the olive oil. And I added some cedar again because that just smells really nice, and they all get rancid, just like which is like oxidizing, and that's what the smell is really of the ick, of the hair ick, the greasy ickness. It is oxidated, basically. So after a couple of days exposure to oxygen, it's very normal. I have used another product which I might show you if it were necessary. I don't really think so. Which is almond oil, and it does contain some methyl industrial thing to act as a conserving agent, but it also contains argan oil, which is also natural. So that one actually oxidates a bit less or less quickly, and it has a kind of a fresher scent to it. So I have used that today to counteract the too much of the oxidated hair grease smell, because yuck, yeah. So that takes a bit of getting used to still. I suppose it's also a matter of physical health, really. I am in menopause and noticing, signs of my body trying to find other ways to detox than through having periods, which is a whole part of this whole scenario here. So, but coming back to the massage thing, this is actually probably the most sensible, feel that you can actually feel that there is a sort of a part of consciousness that belongs to my body and to my physical existence that sits in here. And that is a very strange and new and interesting kind of sensation. So I may be going over political here, but I do believe that there is a conspiracy going on worldwide where hairdressers need to earn money, which I do not blame them for having to do that in this world at all, of course. And hair care product companies need to sell products, which I do not blame them for either. But the result is that there's a combination of the two where hairdressers will cut, certainly in this country, they will think, or they will, it's like everybody has this opinion in this country, in the Netherlands where I live, that any woman over 40 in the countryside, in towns it's different. There's more artists and more, people who've, I don't know, different lifestyles, different types of jobs and different everything, And then you also have lots of women with longer white, often hair, which can look really beautiful. In the countryside where I live, and still most of the country, it is like not done for a woman. I'm 56, okay, to have this length of hair. They walk the streets. I can see people out there. If I go to my supermarket and back, I will have seen at least one person who's struggling with this idea to some extent, or has made her own choices, where she will look a bit more like this. So the length is there, the hair growth is a fact of life, okay? And it looks like hairdressers are making us, not individual hairdressers. If you're a hairdresser, I'm really sorry. I do not mean this to be an attack on hairdressing people at all. It's just something that has grown through patriarchy. I believe it's patriarchal, okay? That makes us cut our hair so that the hair care industry, the products, become necessary, okay? Much more. And if you do not want that, and if you want to move away from using shampoo the whole time, from having to fight with conditioner because it becomes a mess, from wanting to grow your hair but it breaks the whole time because you're constantly being influenced by, you have to have this tool, you have to have this kind of shape, you have to have these kinds of curls, you have to uncurl your hair, you have to straighten it, you have to blah 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 blah, endless blah, endless technology in one form or another. Your hair doesn't become any happier. It feels really different if you can just let it be. I will probably ask my husband in a month or so to just do the scissor over my back, just cut off the little bits of the pointy bits at the ends down there, and because I do not feel anymore like I have this obligation to go to the hairdressers, to shampoo, etc., etc. Because I'm noticing now that I'm over this sort of a barrier on the other side. I am noticing that my hair actually likes the way it feels now, that there is ways to treat it that make it feel a lot happier. I've also tried Rasool clay, by the way. I don't know if I already said this in a previous video. Rasool clay is from Morocco, and it's a bit expensive, and I feel like I've got plenty still to use, but it feels a bit colonialist and a bit privileged to be importing Moroccan clay powder to wash my hair with from 3,000 kilometers away. I think that's nuts in a way, you know. So I liked using it though. It feels, it degreases very gently, the Rasool. So I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan. You can just mix it up into like what looks a bit like a thick type of cocoa, something like that. And you just spread it around, and you, last time I washed my hair, so last Tuesday, 7 days ago, I used the Rasool on the top of my head. And then afterwards I washed, like going down from here only with shampoo. So the shampoo did not go on my scalp. Whereas before, and certainly with my mom, you know, she used to shampoo my head when I was a kid, and you'd shampoo, 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 have it as much froth and as much bubbles in there as possible, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then rinse and repeat, of course. So you would get so badly degreased, you know? It was not what they want in here. So we're striving for new balance here. I hope this is of interest. I think this is what I had to say. Let me look at my notes, because I did have notes to have a look at whether, so not to comb or brush when it is wet, etc. with a fine-tooth comb, the massage of the hair, the twisting of the strands. The hair does get heavier than normal, yes. When I wash it now, after this, it will feel a whole lot lighter. The weight increases with the oils. To some extent, that's normal and inevitable. Selling products, yes. It is not done to have this type of hair, or especially to have long, luscious hair when you're really grey like me. It's just a cultural thing. It's also kind of, I associate those kinds of ideas and with anti-female, you know, with anti-feminist, anti-woman, suppressing femaleness in all sorts of ways. I'm not such a fan, so yeah. I do feel less well groomed than normal, yes, and it feels different from it feels. And I used to know somebody who, that was a male, by the way, of the more or less the same age as me as I am now, who did not wash his hair at all, because, and he said it took about 6 weeks for the whole grease thing to sort of get settled. He didn't look any different from somebody who washed their hair all the time at all. So it's like the balance of the chemistry in there does also reset itself after a while. But I feel more the need to actually go and wash now. You know, it's not that it looks that super bad. There's this spot over here. Of course, that's the greasiest spot I have, where you get this clumping. But if I were to go in with my fine-tooth comb again, it would, you know, it would sort itself out again. And it's like my hair is happier, and it's like having an extra protective shield around my person. Is that what hair is really supposed to be? Is it supposed to protect your mind? You know, that makes me really happy to think that. A really weird, strange conclusion. Half an hour. Thank you for watching. I hope this is at least funny and weird to watch and to maybe think about. But the idea here is that you really have to get over the borderline to the other side in order to feel the effects. And before that, there's a time where you have to do particular kinds of treatment, which I hope I have, shared with you here, in order to make it workable again, make it possible to live with it. I would never have believed that I would have done this. And my poor old mum, she would have liked this kind of content because she was, I have loads more videos that I need to be making. Past lives, weirdness and craziness, 2 more updates, cards, just to name 3, okay? So hopefully this week I can get some stuff done and I can be out and with you guys a bit more because I want to. I want to come out. I want to come back to my channel, okay? Thank you so much for being here, you guys. The sun is still shining between the clouds. See you next time. Thank you. See you then. Bye-bye.